from ordinary usage, synergy, it talks about benefits resulting from combining two different people together. Two different people. The benefit we have when we combine two different people together. From the point of when you say something is synergistic, what do we mean? We mean something is able to work together effectively and efficiently. Now to come to what we are looking at, if we are talking about in marriage, we have a clear understanding from Matthew chapter 19 from verse 3. The Pharisees, they came to Jesus and they were asking him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for any reason? Jesus answered, have you not read that he who made them from the beginning, made them what? Male and female. And he said, for this cause, a man shall leave father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one. So they are no longer two, but they are one. What therefore God has joined together, let no man put asunder. So when we are talking about synergy in marriage, we are talking about the healthy working of the male and the female that God has brought together. When God divinely bring a male and a female together, he said he make, and I'm emphasizing male and female, because sociologically today, marriage is no more male and female. But I'm emphasizing male and female because I'm defining from the Bible. Marriage can be between female and female, between male and male. But we are looking at the scriptures. We are talking about when a male and a female come together, and then that male becomes the man, and that female becomes the wife. There are many men, there are many male that actually don't become men. They remain as male. You know, there's a difference between being human and human beings. You may be a human being, but your being may not be human. So there are many males that actually don't become a man, and there are many females that are not wife material. So the coming together, however, of a man and his wife, their ability to work in what we call a corporate unity, is what we are talking about when we say synergy. So we want to look at this matter particularly as it relates to fulfilling, because it must interest us, as we all know, that marriage is not only Christians that marry. Unbelievers marry. And when unbelievers marry, they have children, they send them to school, they train them to do all kinds of things. Now, what I'm trying to say is that marriage transcends. There are people who are not Christian that marry, and that marriage may not fulfill. Relation is coming from Revelation chapter 4, verse 11. It's a very popular song. Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive all glory, honor, and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. In other words, everything that are in existence, whether seen or unseen, whether physical or not physical, God created everything for what? His pleasure. So when we are marrying because of God's pleasure. Our existence is for his pleasure. So meaningful living, when we say we are living meaningfully, it means our life is aligned with the pleasure of God. When our life is not aligned with God's pleasure, our life is meaningless. It has no meaning. For instance, I'm using the microphone. What is the purpose? To amplify my voice. If I'm speaking into this thing and nobody is hearing me clearer, what will happen? We will have to do what? We will change it. They will bring another one. It means it is serving the purpose that gives it a meaning. Once it stops serving that purpose, it becomes what? Meaningless. So, the reason why divine purpose become a very crucial thing in marriage is that any marriage that is not aligned with the purpose of God actually is a meaningless thing. It has no meaning. It's useless. So it is divine purpose that actually gives our marriage a what? A meaning. As far as heaven, very clear. Why are we tying these two things together? Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. Marriage, I'm already in the second section, marriage and divine purpose. Can we have Genesis 1:26? Okay, let me continue here. It's faster. Genesis 1:26. When God, we are looking at marriage and divine purpose. The second section. Now, you notice that when God was creating the animals, there was no mention of female. He said God created them in their kinds. He was creating them in their kinds. Now, God created the ones in the air, the ones on land, the ones in the water, and he gave them a mandate: multiply, fill the earth. But when God came to man, it was a different ball game altogether. God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And having said that, the Bible says God made them male, but the male and the female were not emphasized. He created them in their kinds. But when he came to man, he said, and God created him. Then male, this is chapter 2, that the female was made out of the male. But when he did, God made the man. Later, on the 6th day, God made the woman. Nothing went to the 7th day. Everything was on the 6th day. But the man was made earlier before the woman. When the man woke up, he said, "This is the bone of my bone." So it is only in human beings that the female was actually an extension of the male. The female was not another creation, so to say. Rather, it was the bone, it was the same. The bone of Adam that was extended into another one. And so it was looking like two. But actually, are they two? Are they two? They are actually one. It's still one person. It was not so for the animals. Now, how does that connect with divine purpose? That is what I want to explain actually. How does that connect with divine purpose? You will notice that when God was making the animals, there was no particular commission. There was no particular commission for them. God just said, "Let the air bring forth the ones that fly," and the air brought them forth. The water, bring forth the one that moves in the water, and they were moving inside the water. They want you to note everything that brought forth was also the habitat of that thing. When the water brought forth fishes, where does fish live? Inside water. When the land brought forth grass and animal, where do they live? They live on land. When it came to man, he said, "Let us make man in our image." So I am making the 6th day. The woman was made later the 6th day. Now, when God was making the man, what was the purpose? To take charge. They were created in their kinds. You know what that means? That means that mother, nothing was ordained. What was ordained is that just be multiplying. There was no pattern to that multiplication. That is why when you see people who are not married, or people who are married having extramarital, their kinds. Now, the point about that, them yet, because God is everywhere at the same time. So does not replenish the earth. I want to ask you, the divine purpose for which God made him, can it be fulfilled? That is why it was not good for him to be alone. God was not thinking about man. He was thinking about his purpose for man. If man is alone, the purpose of God will die. If man does not multiply, he cannot dominate. So there is a purpose of God. And I want you to note that. Color the divine agenda that will be compromised. And you think marriage is about just parading on sea. Oh, thank God for this house that we have built. What exactly? Because let me tell you, once you can, who is going to reduce our sister to what? A maid. The birds, the fishes, the animals, they were already multiplying. They had been blessed. Having said all of that, I want to quickly shift to the other thing here. Is that, brethren, we are talking about why must we synergize? Adam was not like this. There was a divine glory that covers that man. And as glorious as it was, God said, this thing will die without divine purpose. Let's make a female.